You know how we usually think of money as just numbers? Well, in Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money, he's saying it's way more than that. He talks about how our personal experiences really shape what we do with our money. Like our emotions, such as envy and greed, can seriously influence how we handle our cash. Most people focus on retirement plans and the stock market when talking money, right? But Morgan wants us to see the other side, the human side of finance. That's basically the emotions and biases that mess with our decisions. This book isn't about getting rich. It's about understanding why we make the money choices we do. Morgan challenges the idea that only luck or inheritance can make you financially independent. Nope. He says anyone can do it by changing their mindset. So, the psychology of money is like a guide to making smarter choices and taking charge of your financial future. It's a simple map to having a better relationship with your money. In this summary, I'll share with you 3 key lessons that I learned from the book. Key lesson number 1. Personal experiences shape the way we handle money. Ever wondered why we make money choices that don't seem to make sense? Economists usually imagine that people are super rational and that they make decisions that always benefit them. But real life is way messier. Take the lottery for example. Low-income households in the US spend about $400 a year on lottery tickets. But if there is an emergency, they struggle to find $400 to deal with it. Is this behavior rational? No, it's not rational, but it's not illogical either. Because here is the deal. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, the lottery feels like the only chance at getting the good stuff that rich people have. Most of these irrational decisions come from our personal experiences. There is an interesting study from 2006 where 2 economists examined 50 years of data to see why people invest the way they do. Turns out, what was happening in the economy when they were young really shaped their money mindset. For example, if inflation was high when they were in late teens or early 20s, they were less likely to invest in certain things later on. And it's not just theory. People born in 1970 who saw the stock market soar during their youth were more likely to invest in it. On the flip side, if the market was sluggish when they were young, they'd probably avoid it. The crazy part is that even when the market changed, people stuck to the decisions they made early on in life. So, personal history is a big player in money game. Numbers and examples tell the story, but our financial choices are shaped more by experiences than we might admit, and they are not always rational. Key lesson number 2. Luck plays a bigger role in financial success than you might think. Luck is a bigger deal in financial success than we usually think. Morgan tells the story when he asked the Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Shiller what he most wants to know about investing that can't be fully known. Shiller answered, the exact role of luck in successful outcomes. Now, luck is kinda tricky. We all know it plays a part, but it's really tough to measure how much it really influences a business thriving or tanking. And we often forget about luck when we are making money decisions. That's a big mistake, because luck is a bigger player in financial success than you might think. There is this economist, Bhaskar Mazumdar, who found something cool. He said that the income of 2 siblings is more connected than things like height or weight. So, if your brother is rich and tall, you're more likely to be rich than tall. How crazy is that? Now, it's not just about luck. It's also how we see it. We tend to either downgrade or exaggerate luck's role. If we do well, it's because we worked hard. If we fail, it's just bad luck. But when others fail, we are not so generous. We blame them for being lazy or short-sighted. So, here is the deal. When it comes to money, we gotta figure out not just what works, but also how to deal with randomness and luck. Key lesson number 3. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. There is this guy, Heinz Bergeron, who lived in Nazi Germany in 1936. He was forced to flee the country and came to California to study literature. And there, he buys this small Picasso painting for $100 in 1940. Flash forward to the 90s, and he had become one of the most successful art collectors of all time. In 2000, he sells his collection to Germany for 100 million euros. It was one of the most important collections in the world, and its actual worth was more than $1 billion. Now, how did Heinz pull off this art collecting magic? Well, an investment company called Horizon Research has an interesting answer. Turns out, great collectors, including Heinz, buy tons of art. Some pieces turn out to be winners, others not so much. The trick, as Horizon's research says, is to keep the winners until the whole collection's value catches up with the best pieces. It's like Heinz's collection was a mix of all sorts of investments, kinda like an index fund. He didn't just buy what he liked, he bought everything and waited for the winners. And here is the lesson for all investments. It's the long tail. It means a few things will bring in most of the success. Sure, it involves some fancy math, but here is the simple part. When you get a few things right, you can afford to mess up on others. Failure is part of the game. What really matters is the nature of your successes. So, when you're sitting on one Picasso, you don't have to worry about the 99 dots in your collection. So in summary, making money choices isn't as neat as it seems in economic textbooks. Our personal experiences, especially the ones when we were young, has a huge impact on what we decide to do with our money. Also, luck plays a bigger role in financial success than you might think, and you can be wrong most of the time and still make a fortune. If you want the PDF summary of the book, click the link below and I'll be happy to send it to you. Thanks for being here with me. This is Bahman, and I enjoy sharing with you.